Isaiah 58. The Lord told me, shout out loud, do not hold back. Raise your voice like a trumpet. Tell my people that they have refused to obey me. Tell the family of Jacob how much they have sinned. Day after day, they worship me. They seem ready and willing to know how I want them to live. They act as if they were a nation that does what is right. They act as if they have not turned away from my commands. They claim to want me to give them fair decisions. They seem ready and willing to come near and worship me. We have gone without food, they say. Why haven't you noticed it? We have made ourselves suffer. Why haven't you paid any attention to us? On the day when you fast, you do as you please. You take advantage of all your workers. When you fast, it ends in arguing and fighting. You hit one another with your fists. That is an evil thing to do. The way you are now fasting keeps your prayers from being heard in heaven. Do you think that is the way I want you to fast? Is it only a time for people to make themselves suffer? Is it only for people to bow their heads like tall grass bent by the wind? Is it only for people to lie down in ashes and clothes of mourning? Is that what you call a fast? Do you think I can accept that? Here is the way I want you to fast. Set free those who are held by chains without any reason. Untie the ropes that hold people as slaves. Set free those who are crushed. Break every evil chain. Share your food with hungry people. Provide homeless people with a place to stay. Give naked people clothes to wear. Provide for the needs of your own family. Then the light of my blessing will shine on you like the rising sun. I will heal you quickly. I will march out ahead of you, and my glory will follow behind you and guard you. That's because I always do what is right. You will call out to me for help, and I will answer you. You will cry out, and I will say, here I am. Get rid of the chains you use to hold others down. Stop pointing your finger at others as if they have done something wrong. Stop saying harmful things about them. Work hard to feed hungry people. Satisfy the needs of those who are crushed. Then my blessing will light up your darkness, and the night of your suffering will become as bright as the noonday sun. I will always guide you. I will satisfy your needs in a land baked by the sun. I will make you stronger. You will be like a garden that has plenty of water. You will be a spring whose water never runs dry. Your people will rebuild the cities that were destroyed long ago, and you will build again on the old foundations. You will be called one who repairs broken walls. You will be called one who makes city streets like new again. Do not work on the Sabbath day. Do not do just anything you want to on my holy day. Make the Sabbath a day you can enjoy. Honor the Lord's holy day. Do not work on it. Do not just do anything you want to. Do not talk about things that are worthless. Then you will find your joy in me. I will give you control over the most important places in the land, and you will enjoy all the good things in the land I gave your father Jacob. The Lord has spoken.
Well, greetings to you all. That must have been about the lengthiest introduction that you've had for a visiting speaker. It's great to have this opportunity to speak to you again, but it feels very strange not to be able to see you or to get any kind of audience feedback at all. Over the years, we've been so grateful for the excellent support from CBC for Tearfund and the very generous giving. Thank you so much. And we're just so delighted that Catherine and Dan Taylor have taken over looking after Tearfund and Eagles for CBC. And I'm so grateful to have this opportunity to talk to you this morning about Tearfund and how it's responding to this global pandemic. We're in really challenging times with a global pandemic that's affecting millions. It's shaken society to the core and changed so much of how we live. It's been a dark time for so many, and we know the coronavirus has affected many of you. It's affected areas such as your freedom, your movement, your families, mental health, lifestyle, so many ways. But this is a time for us to remember what Jesus taught us. You are a light on a hill, a city that cannot be hidden. It's a time for the church to rise up. It's not a time for us to shrink back, but for us to stand and stand boldly, that our light would shine so brightly and clearly in the middle of darkness and chaos. Isaiah 58 is a challenging and encouraging passage. And isn't that just what God does with us? That we receive his encouragement and his challenge to walk in ways that please him. You see, the people of Israel had become focused on the practices of God, but had forgotten to love people. They committed to fasting and abstaining from pleasure, but had left out the poor and the needy. They were known for what they did not do, instead of what they did do. Listen to verse 6 to 8 of the passage that we've had from Isaiah. Is not this the kind of fasting that I have chosen? To loose the chains of injustice, to untie the cords of the yoke, to set the oppressed free and break every yoke. Is it not to share your food with the hungry, to provide the poor wanderer with shelter? When you see the naked, to clothe them, and not to turn away from your own flesh and blood. Then your light will break forth like the dawn, and your healing will appear quickly. Then your righteousness will go before you, and the glory of the Lord will be your rear guard. Can you hear what he really desires, what really pleases him? How we love those in need, how we love the poor, how we love those who are oppressed. He's calling us to true worship. Indeed, God's love of justice is a prominent theme throughout the Bible. It's second only to idolatry as the most popular topic in the Old Testament. And in the New Testament, 1 in 10 verses in the Synoptic Gospels relate to either poverty, justice, or wealth. God feels passionately about justice. and especially justice for the poor. But not only is he calling us to deal with injustice, but also to share our food with the hungry, provide the wanderer with shelter, and to clothe those with nothing to wear. At a time when so many nations seem to be just looking to their own interests, God is calling us to look out at the wider world and to be that light on the hill. Now, things have been and still are very difficult in the UK, with some having a very hard time and some facing tragedy. But just for a while, I want you to imagine how you would feel if you were living in Cox's Bazar. Now, Cox's Bazar is in Bangladesh, and it's the world's largest refugee camp. Yes, largest. I want you to imagine that you're part of the Rohingya people who fled Myanmar to this refugee camp for safety and left everything, yes, everything behind. So you made it across the border to Bangladesh, and now you're living closely packed together with over 1 million others in this refugee camp. Then you hear the news that cases of coronavirus have been confirmed in the camp. You look around you. Social distancing is close to impossible here, and you know that there are limited medical resources and no intensive care beds. And I'm going to bring up a picture of Cox's Bazar to give you some idea of what it looks like. Now, in 2017, the Rohingya people fled to the refugee camp in Cox's Bazar. A recent article by The Guardian said that the camp is more densely populated than most of our busiest cities. It's estimated that up to 70,000 Rohingya people are living in each square kilometre. Now compare that with Tower Hamlets, which is one of the most densely populated areas in the UK, which has just under 13,000 per square kilometre. So Cox's Bazar is about 6 times more densely populated. Typically, 12 people occupy each tiny, crowded makeshift shelter. Yes, that's 12 in each one of those. This was already a crisis, but in April, Bangladesh officials reported cases of coronavirus, confirming the first case in Cox's Bazar, the area where almost 1 million Rohingya people are living in refugee camps. It's a global health crisis within a crisis. Now, in the refugee camps, there is no space for social distancing. There just isn't enough space. Many shelters share the same well water and toilet. Sanitation is poor. Healthcare is scarce. Illness is already rife because basic things like clean water and soap are in short supply. And people's immune systems are already depleted because of poor nutrition. And it's feared that if the virus spreads, it'll spread fast and the consequences will be catastrophic. Tearfund's country director for Bangladesh has said it's difficult to deal with this complex issue as the resources are few, the infrastructure is not adequate, and the medical facilities are not adequate. People are out of their jobs, particularly the migrants, the daily wage labourers, the poor and the vulnerable. They're suffering due to hunger, unemployment, and lack of health facilities. Now, Tearfund believe that God has called them to go where the need is greatest, where it's messiest, where it's hardest, where it's darkest. Wherever possible, they work through the local church. Churches like CBC supporting, and they're working through the local communities, the local church in places like Colombia, Zambia, Indonesia, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. So what are Tearfund's partners doing? Again, I want to share a slide with you to give you some idea of what they're able to do. So far, they've been able to reach over 33,334 with hygiene and sanitation kits, over 5,717 with food parcels, over 502 water stations, and over 91,326 with a hygiene message. Now, this is amazing, but there are so many more people and communities to reach. Will you help them? Heading back to Isaiah 58, isn't it great that it doesn't end with a challenge, but the encouragement of who we are as God's people? Let's look again at verse 9 to 12. Then you will call, and the Lord will answer. You'll cry for help, and he will say, here am I. If you do away with the yoke of oppression, with the pointing finger and malicious talk, if you spend yourselves on behalf of the hungry and satisfy the needs of the oppressed, then your light will rise in the darkness, and your night will become like the noonday. The Lord will guide you always. He will satisfy your needs in a sun-scorched earth and will strengthen your frame. You will be like a well-watered garden, like a spring whose waters never fail. Your people will rebuild the ancient ruins and will raise up the age-old foundations. You will be called a repairer of broken walls, restorer of streets with dwellings. Now, the Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, put it so well. We cannot be content to go back to what was before. There needs to be a restoration of our common life. So, what can you do today? However much you despair at what's happening at the moment, you can be part of something that's bringing God's hope and God's love into the situation. Now, Tearfund is asking the UK Church to join them in prayer today. Tearfund strongly believes in the power of prayer. So please remember their partners and the communities that they work in. So you can take action today. Your financial gift can help Tearfund to reach more people during this pandemic, like the stories we've just heard from Cox's Bazar. Now, let me say at this point, I am very aware that this crisis is causing some people real financial hardship. And if you're one of the ones so affected, then please, please do not feel any duty to give. But what you can do is, which is so vital, is to pray. Tearfund is nothing without our prayers. But if you are able to give, a donation of £15 can provide 5 families with a month's supply of life-saving essentials such as soap and disinfectant. A donation of £50 could provide health training and food support to 3 families over 3 months. And if as a church you give a combined donation of £600, that could provide a community of 200 families with a month's supply of life-saving essentials. So you can give today by going to this website, www.tearfund.org/COVID response. And now if you follow this link, you'll be asked what prompted you to give. Please could you then select the church service option and follow the instructions to look up CBC. This then allows Tearfund to come back and say thank you personally, and also to let Wayne know how much of a difference you all have made. So thank you so much for listening. Whether it's through prayer and or giving, I do hope you want to be part of what Tearfund is doing to bring the love of God to some of the most challenged parts of the world. Thank you.